It's starting. Yeah,
And we're live.
and we're live. That's what everybody always says. It kind of irritates me. It's like, and we're live. So we're here today with Mgtow Oracle's in, and Mgtow Oracle's been doing some interesting work, and I think it's it's the kind of work for Mgtow that everybody can do, even if you're not a producer, even if you don't want to make videos, you don't want to get yourself out there. There's a lot of work we can do in Mgtow. We had Seth in yesterday, and Seth was he explained what he was doing, and he gets taken down every time he puts something up. But in Mgtow Oracle was doing you're taking videos and you're putting them in what do you call those
Playlist.
playlists, yeah, and
Yep.
just putting them out there so you can have a variety of videos to watch on a single subject, and you're doing levels of MGTOWs. You want to give
Yeah,
a
that
kind
is
of a
correct.
overall of that?
I put together a couple ideas for categories, and I had listed it as level 1 through 5 Mgtow, which not everyone can agree on the exact
Yeah,
definitions of those.
yeah. I said that the other day. I was like, someone said, I said, well, there's 5 levels, and then someone said, nope, there's 7 levels now. I said, geez, they just keep changing. It's like
Yeah.
that movable goalpost, you know?
Yep. Well, I guess after you take the red pill, it doesn't really matter, but people gotta somehow identify themselves.
Yeah, it is what it is. You come in and you practice MGTOW, whatever your capacity. Sometimes you're stuck in a situation. Sometimes you're in whatever your situation in life doesn't determine what MGTOW category you're in. But there is sort of a higher level of MGTOW. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Let me pull up my spreadsheet real quick.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing things right now. So I got my levels laid out, and whenever I watch videos, I just add them to my spreadsheets and put them in categories. They don't
Okay.
necessarily go on YouTube right away. I like to sort it out because one thing I should state is that I'm not the only one working on this channel. So I put it on my spreadsheets I have on a Google Docs, and then we'll watch it and then kind of talk about each video and
So
then
that's a
decide which category it goes into.
yeah, it's a team effort, huh?
Yep.
I know, right?
Well, that's
And
good.
yeah, I sent out a message to a lot of the YouTube channels to see if they can provide some insight as well, because they obviously know their content way more than I do. I'm relatively new to the
Oh
community.
yeah. That's you. When you called me, I was like, oh, what is this thing that you're doing? I was kind of interested, and I see a lot of guys doing similar things
Yeah.
to get the word out, spread MGTOW, get it to the kids, before they go out there in that society and uh,
Yeah.
make the fatal mistake.
I find one annoyance on YouTube is that when you go onto someone's channel, um, your only options are to sort by most popular or date added, newest to oldest.
Yeah. No, I try to do the work and put the throwdowns into a separate category, and a lot of times YouTube will do that for you. Start putting the throwdowns in all the categories and everything. But as for sorting the actual videos, my God, that's a cumbersome task, isn't it?
Yep, for sure. And some of the other categories as well, like I'm doing, besides the Mgtow levels, I have a category for MRA and MRM, whatever you want to call that.
Okay, yeah, the MRA and the MRM, men's rights activists.
Yeah, I don't have too much in that right now, but that was initially, what led me to finding out about Mgtow. My
Okay,
buddy was big in the MRA and stuff, so
okay.
yeah, and then he got into Mgtow and told me about it, so that's how I kind of started.
What's MGTOW like a more natural choice for you?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Just kind of your ideas and what you had thought, what you had witnessed in life was more Mgtow than yeah. The MRM is it's different. It's more academic, I would say, and it's more. I don't know what they're doing. It's hard to say what they're doing. You can never kind of put your finger on it. Can you?
It just really seems disorganized, especially at the moment. And they claim that they want to change legislature and that kind of approach. And I don't really foresee them ever making really too much ground.
Yeah, pants on fire says MRA are just men that like to bark at the wrong. They're barking up the wrong tree, aren't they?
Yep.
While still engaging with women and still engaging with the gynocentric.
Yep.
That's the part that makes no sense to me.
It's an uphill battle for them. But no, they're trying. And if that's the only way, they know how to do it. So.
Yeah, but it is an introduction. I can't say that I didn't involve myself back in the day with the MRM, or what I believe to be the MRM and the manosphere, kind of including being all inclusive of all ideas and everything. I was trying to soak in some stuff, But after you soak in the stuff and you go, well, there's risk here, and then the risk idea, boom, you're like, okay, now I got the Mgtow thing.
Yeah, back in my blue pill days, like I would just think of the MRA as more like you guys are silly, like men's rights.
Yeah.
But I guess after you start
the
like
idea
doing the Mgtow stuff, it's completely different perspective on it.
Yeah, the Mgtow. That's what they always come at us. It's like men's rights, like men need rights, huh?
Yeah.
You're just opening yourself up. It's like giving the blue pill world a free shot at you by calling yourself men's rights, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what they always do. Every pundit I've ever seen on TV or anything, and they say, "What is this men's rights thing?" Like men need rights, like you don't have rights, No, we're not talking about that. There's a separation between men's rights, and John's talked about this, John Hemling, because he had the men's rights. What was his men's human rights? And then he kind of backed on that, and he thought about it a little bit, and he says, well, it's not really men's rights. What we're talking about is gynocentrism here, and they are two separate things, aren't they?
They're very separate.
It's
I would say one is more political, and one more is a social type of,
Right. I was looking at Johnny Manziel, the Johnny Manziel case. You're probably familiar with him, being from the area. You probably watched the Cleveland Browns a little bit.
Yeah.
And Johnny Manziel. The one thing I couldn't understand about this is an example of gynocentrism. And it's not really men's rights. It's how the police reacted when they got there. You read the original story on that, coming out of Texas, and you see that Johnny Manziel had called the police. I tweeted that out today. It says the person that had made the phone call was not in the apartment. So Johnny Manziel made the phone call to the police because his girlfriend was probably getting nuts and crazy, and then he left the apartment, which they tell you should do, right?
Right.
Remove yourself from whatever. Yeah, remove yourself. And then they got there and they said, we found a 23-year-old girl, and she said she was worried about her boyfriend, and he had left. And then they gave her like 3 days to think about this, and all of a sudden she comes back like 3 days later or a week later, and then she starts seeing a writing on the wall. Oh no, he's gone. There's nothing to be had. This is now public.
Yeah.
But the original thing is Johnny Manziel made the original phone call. But when the police came to react to that, they weren't saying, well, Johnny may have been this big football player. He might have been the one that was violated here. Did they ever ask him that?
No, they probably never even thought about that either.
They never even thought about that.
Probably never crossed their mind.
It never even crossed. Now he's stuck with this situation where whatever she says is gospel truth, and that's gynocentrism.
Yep.
And it's just hearsay. It's just a lot of hearsay and garbage. Whatever she can lay on now is whatever the press can prey on. And Mary Kay Cabot, the leading press from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, She is just going off every day, just pounded it in that John is this awful person. But he made the phone call.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of, in the MRA, they sort of see this, but there's no legislation in the world that's going to stop a police officer, two police officers, from having biased opinions when they get to the house, is it?
For sure. You know, what are they going to do? Create a protocol that says, you know, to somehow treat every individual like they're non-gendered or some kind of biased phrasing, and then, you know what I'm saying, and then just go into the scenario with a completely open mind? No, that's...
Yeah, you would have to, like Barbarossa says, you have to look at it from the alien point. The police would have to actually look at it like they were aliens from a different world, and it was non-gender bias, and they were looking at only the facts. That's what I love that, what is that old TV show when he says, just a fact, ma'am?
I don't know what you're talking about there, but...
Oh, it was Dragnet. Do you ever watch Dragnet?
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah, he was just at that, he had the suit, the tie, I can't remember his name, and he was always saying, just the facts, ma'am. But that's what they have to do, is just get the facts. And put, you know, and obviously, can you imagine that when you get to this apartment, and there's this stellar girl, she's like, she's all of a 10, you know.
Right. She's an 11, you know.
She's an 11
football player.
You know, if you look at that girl, we could probably bring up her pic and do a screen share if the guys want to see her. But she's all of 11, you know.
Yeah.
She is unobtainium, you know, the metal.
Unobtainium.
For most of us,
was that the resource from Avatar?
Yeah, unobtainium. She's that rare metal in this world, where, you know, every curve is perfect. There's not a blemish on her body. These police walk in, and she's going, "Boo hoo! What do you think the reaction's going to be by these police officers?"
He went that way, yeah.
Yeah, he went that. We're going to get this guy for you, ma'am. What did he do? Well, he made a phone call and started to make the original phone call was starting to get the process in where he wanted to make a complaint.
Yeah.
And then they turn it all around, and that's gynocentrism in a nutshell. Right. But back to our original conversation. I hate to go off. You know how I am. I just hammer off on these things. But it's you know, it needs to be explained.
Right.
And that's where the MRA kind of doesn't get it, that it's not about, you know, but what's that category going to look like? Who are you going to include in that category?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot right now. Like, I have some of Karen's videos.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Backlash?
Backlash, yeah, the Backlash.
Yeah, his videos are great. A few clips of who's that guy he always references? Warren Farrell.
Warren Farrell, yeah. I'm really familiar with the
He has a lot of amazing clips.
Oh, yeah. He kind of got the ball rolling on the language that we use when we're trying to describe what we're seeing. Because there wasn't really a language out there that you can use when you're trying to describe these things that we were noticing.
Yeah. And that's one thing I kind of noticed was like Mgtow kind of existed before it existed. You know, there just wasn't a label, and, you know, kind of...
Right, it needed to be manufactured. Right around 2004, people, I don't know if that's exactly true. I was around in 2004. I seen what had developed. Hey, Phil. Phil's around, too. I love Phil. I read what his name actually meant yesterday, and I didn't know that. That cracked me up.
What's that?
Phil McCracken.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah, they were chatting, and he's like, a little, and I never realized that. He's been around quite a while.
I had been getting into Backlash's videos, and what he does is he just reads his papers or articles that he wrote from the 1990s. You know, he's just finally putting on YouTube, but his content has been, it's been wherever he had on his website or published for, it's, that was almost like 20 years ago, 1996. So the concepts have been around for a long time. It's just a lot of people just haven't, put the information out there.
Someone's saying the audio is off. It doesn't sound bad to me.
What's that? My audio?
Yeah, either my audio or your audio. Was it Traversable's audio, Oracle's audio, or? But I'm not getting nothing bad here.
How do you see the chat? Can I see that or no?
Oh yeah, you got to bring up the page and then kind of look at the chat.
Like pull up the stream while.
Yeah, put the you put the Hangout onto the chat. There's a great deal of noise coming from one of the speakers. The audio is awful, he says, but I'm not hearing nothing. I'm not hearing awful audio. I don't know if I could adjust the bandwidth here. I'm using a Bluetooth microphone.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Someone has guests in the background. I'm not hearing the guests in the background.
Is maybe Mgtow Jesus like somehow broadcasting something?
Yeah, let me mute out Jesus here for a second, and then maybe Marcus can give me let's mute him for a second. It is quite windy here. We were talking about that earlier. We're getting the winds down from Chicago.
Yeah, well, I hope my computer fan isn't loud enough that people are picking it up.
No, Marcus says he hears a conversation in the background as if one of the speakers is in public setting. I'm not hearing that.
Like mini discs, you slide into them, those compact CDs you put in here.
Yeah, I don't hear it either.
Put a cell phone.
Okay, kind of nothing I can do about that. That's on Google's end. Google is doing something wrong. Because it sounds fine to me. It really does. I can go to the control room.
Well,
Adjusting. Yep, there's nothing to adjust. So we'll just keep on talking, see if the problem will fix itself. And I'm sorry if the audio coming through YouTube chat is not the quality that it should be. Once again, we're getting censored in the most peculiar ways.
I can try and mute myself for a minute and see if it goes away.
Yeah. Mgtow Jesus is he still in the I muted him. Let me turn down his control room. There we go. How's that? How's that? A test.
Hello.
You good? No, my Mgtow Jesus, and see what happens. If possible, the noise remains. He says, "I'm not sure what the noise is because I'm not hearing it."
Yeah, it's a great cloth interior.
Let me try and pull up the stream on my phone. I'll mute myself and see if I can hear it.
Okay, yeah, tell me what that sounds like.
I like the nose on it a little bit more than it reminds me of like a fancy explorer.
Okay, he said yes, now it's gone. Is that better? Right now it's better. Yeah, what I was hearing was a slight, like the wind's blowing in this area, and that's hard to take out of your audio when you're sitting in a room where the wind's hitting. It's back. It's back now. Okay, I don't know what to do about it. How's it now?
Well, I got this from the Acadia.
Hey, I'm back.
Hey, did you hear anything?
Yeah, it's like a reverb or like a delay that's like really quiet, like you'll hear us talk and then you'll hear like maybe a delay or something, and static. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, maybe let me unplug my. Let me redo my.
Sorry. What's up, Bill? No, I ain't found yet.
All right, just a few technical problems.
Been so I'm sorry, Jesus. I'm gonna. I can't. I could just keep him muted, and then if he wants to come back in and out, he can go back out. I don't want to eject him because if I eject him, then he can't get back into the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that was in Mgtow. I don't know how that is because he fell out, and I have no way of eject. I don't want to eject him because it would be so. Mgtow Jesus, if you're listening, I got you on mute. So where were we?
I guess let's see. I was just going through some of the playlists I was putting together on my channel. So I covered the Mgtow levels. So check that out. I have like a 30 video alpha version of level 1 up, and I just started level 2. I got a few videos on there. I got a lot more of my spreadsheets, but I just work at it one day at a time. And I did a music playlist on Friday while I was at work. So if you want some Mgtow music, check that out.
Okay, I love Mgtow music.
What
The more
what kind of music do you like?
I like sort of stuff from the 80s, 90s, Genesis and stuff like that. But I'm really into the new music too, like Radioactive and Sail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah, I got a little bit of everything on there.
yeah,
Some rock, rap, hip hop.
yeah. I
It
know
all
it's
has the same message.
yeah, I know it's all gynocentric in its nature, and it's hard to find songs that are really uh, really, take on the MGTOW. You almost got to find something that's they'll consider it misogynistic, and then they're not going to. Cyndi Lauper, yes, I like Cyndi Lauper. That was one of my favorites. She was my Walt when I was when I was growing up. If she 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 was my Walt when I was growing up. I thought she was so bizarre and unique that I was like, oh, she'd probably be really fun to be around.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper. Girls just wanna. That's not Cyndi Lauper. I can't remember it. That was a long time ago. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, but it's hard to kind of nail down Mgtow music. And so you put up a.
Yeah, it's really just cross genre. Really, it's just the lyrics at that point.
Yeah, you know what I find interesting with women. When you see a man, some of the songs that were out in the early '70s, the guys were saying, "Hey, women are bad. This is don't do this. Women are bad and everything." And the women, and they were kind of doing it in a whiny way, and the women are go, "Oh, he made a song for me," and I'm saying, "No, that song's not for you. It's about you."
Right. Yeah, you see that a lot when there's like a really strong like breakup song or something like that, and then you see like every girl singing it like it's tailored to them, but it's actually
Yeah.
about them,
Yeah, I feel like it's Taylor. Oh, that's so romantic. He's so hurt, and I'm like thinking, no, that's about you, stupid. And they don't get it. They don't get it.
Nope.
There's some disconnect there where they just don't know. If they could take, a lot of men learn from lessons. We learn from lessons. We learn from experience, and then we don't make that mistake again. I don't know if women have that in them. Simply, I can look at that. They have no ability to see that song was about them, and they shouldn't do that. That should be a learning experience where this is what not to do in a relationship to a man.
I think it's just all about how catchy the song is, and they just sing
Yeah.
along no matter
And they
what the
just sing
message
along
is.
they use keywords, and they
Yep.
attach to keywords, and it's like, oh man. But that's an interesting kind of MGTOW music. I see a lot of guys post music on their G Plus page, and something they find some unique little saying about that refers to Mgtow and everything. So what else you got in that thing? You got Mgtow levels. You got the MRA. You're trying to sort the MRA from the. Is there a difference between the MRA and the MRM? The MRA.
There very well could be, but I'm not in depth enough to distinguish the difference. I know plenty of them will complain and be like, MRA is about this and that, and MRM is about this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
I don't really know a whole lot about that.
Yeah, I kind of look at the MRA as the total sum. Everybody, all of us are in the MRM. That's the men's rights movement.
Yeah.
And that would include PUA to an extent, Mgtow, the MRA, men's human rights activists. And that would include, unfortunately, some of the Christian groups, some of the what's it like the mankind group that work with men after divorce to make sure they pay their child support, them kind of groups, and they're trying to, these are the guys that really kind of get in there and they influence legislation, but they're so soft.
Yeah,
they're so soft. Did you ever I don't suppose any of you guys would ever have went to one of those programs. You have to have gone through divorce, and then you go down to the Health and Human Services, or you go to your preacher or whatever it is. It's kind of traditional, and then they will send you to one of the. Here's a good group, and they'll give you the United Men, and then when you get there, all they're telling you is pay your child support, man up, and don't miss your appointments, or you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
And most of their funding comes from HHS, and that's what disturbs me a lot, because they're being funded by HHS to get you in HHS to send you through those programs, and then you're just a slave.
Yep. Continue to support the gynocentrism or go to jail.
Continue to support the gynocentrism or go. So they're kind of playing into the Christian. I don't even know if it's Christian. What's a good example of those groups? They're just man up groups. A Mankind Project. You see them all around their neighborhood projects that are funded by your local HHS. Your local HHS, by the way, gets funding for these projects. When I say there's only two programs, there is some programs for men. It's divorce and jail are the two programs, and then in between that small section is this program that they run. There is no support, actually. It's just
right. It's just
child
kind
support. Here's what we're going to warn you
Yeah.
against. And then they often go on like, well, are you going to get married again? Like, has this jaded
Persuading
you?
them to support the system, not go to jail because they're still capable of, providing.
Yeah, you're still capable of going to work, and that's something that's capable of going to work is the language they use a lot. Capable of working, and a lot of guys go Galt at that point. They're like, I'm not, fuck you, I'm not going to do this. I'm not a slave.
Yep.
And that's the part that they don't understand. They call them the deadbeat dads. They got the McCarthyisms for them. Call them what you want, but it's just a response to slavery, as far as I see it, and it's a good response. It's an honest response.
Yeah, because I highly doubt that every man that's been divorced is a deadbeat dad. They just like to label every guy.
They just like the label. It's a convenient label.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another interesting topic I want to include in my channel is personal testimonies. So I think that would be a great playlist if somehow you guys could just send me, if you already have a video, just send me the link, or I can just compile them all together. And I think that would be great for guys who are new or learning about Mgtow, and they can kind of relate to some of the stories and be like, yeah, I went through that exact same scenario, and that's how I think about X, Y, and Z.
Okay, yeah, personal test. Most of the guys at a certain point, they're going to do a personal test of why I'm a Mgtow, what made me a Mgtow. And there's a lot of different stories, and it comes from either youve gone through the gynocentric system, or you noticed the gynocentric system, or you're a product of the divorce courts, and that we get a lot of guys from that. And we get a products of or just children that were raised by men of 20, 30, up to 30 years old now, that were raised in the single mama, baby mama simp factories. And they said, no, I'm not going to do that. I see it very clearly now.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different, it depends where you're coming from and everything. And I seen recently we were talking about this the other day, is there's a new segment in Mgtow of men that are coming from the absolute opposite that. They're telling stories about how their father beat them and stuff like that. And I was like, no, that's not quite Mgtow.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to call it.
Yeah, go see those feminists. They will support you. If you talk bad about fathers and men, it's if that's your issue, I don't know if that's quite the issue you want to have around here.
Yeah.
I think there was
the red pill doesn't really help with that.
No, it doesn't really help with that. No, it's not our issue, at least, and that tends to. I talked about that a little bit, how we always get hijacked. We can see these groups. We can see the mythopoetic men's movement, how that was hijacked by Christianity, and then they started running programs from HHS through that, and then it became the Mankind Project, and just for fathers, just be better. Go out and they're telling you, go out and play with your kids. That's the best thing you can do. Just give them money.
Be there for them.
Yeah,
pay the child support.
Pay the child support. Be there. Take them out for McDonald's on that Saturday, that exciting Saturday that you're going to get, and you can take.
Yeah.
You ever go to McDonald's on a Saturday afternoon, guys?
Oh, that brings up kind of flashbacks or something.
Oh God, it's horrible. I was sitting in there the other day. I was sitting in a Burger King or a McDonald's, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, single dad. He got his kids for the day. Single dad. This was their day. The kids are, what kids are. I had kids and everything. It's like, what do you want to do? I want to go to McDonald's.
I shit you not, that happened to me once. my dad came to pick me and my brother up and took us to McDonald's, and that's what we did for his visitation.
At a certain point, it becomes old for the children. It becomes old for the father. This is what what more can we do? I'm going to get you on Saturday. I have to have you back by Saturday at 6 o'clock, or they're going to put me in jail. And,
right.
Your mom's going to call the police on me. And this is my visitation rights. I can't actually afford anything. They're taking.
Right. She has all my money. I don't know where I'm supposed to take you.
Yeah. They're taking 2/3 of my pay, and children don't understand that.
No.
I know how hard it was for my children. And I always tried to, and this is where the government gets you. I tried to do a second job, and so I did have a little money to spend, but there was no starting another business at that point. There was no fixing. I just had to. I was in the system, and for the next foreseeable 12 years, I was in the system, and this is the way it was going to be. And 2/3 of my pay is gone.
Yeah.
And
I don't know about you, but I use 2/3 of my pay. I don't know how I'm gonna survive without that.
Yeah, and it was always McDonald's, the McDonald's days. Oh God, yeah, them are horror. They should. I wish I could. I should do that. Just take my video camera and just start making these videos about these guys in McDonald's. And, it's so sad because I know what it is. Now, if you're like an outsider, you kind of don't know what's going on. You just glaze over that as a daily. You just went to McDonald's, had your lunch, and there was these guys with children in there, and there's always children. No, there was Devorah's guys with their doing their Saturday.
That was their option. That or Burger King.
I like to make. You know what I really like doing, and the kids kind of liked it too. We find a McDonald's with all the slides and shit.
What? Oh, the play place.
Yeah, the play place, and Burger King has some great play places too. And so that was like, oh yeah, that's a double. I get kudo points if I found the play place, and there wasn't a lot of them. There was
you'd have to drive somewhere to go to the play place.
Gas was cheap, so I'm looking on the internet going, where's the nearest play place? Or Chuck E. Cheese, Chuck E. Cheese.
Would you say that the play place was designed for divorced men take their kids out?
Yes, it was a safe and free environment, which was monitored. Isn't that true? That's our option. And it was a safe, man-free, and there's always a few women in those McDonald's play places that they were sort of the monitors. I don't know if McDonald's
playground supervisor, basically.
The playground supervisor. They took it upon themselves to sit around McDonald's all day and be the playground supervisor, so they can watch the men because we're evil.
Make sure the men don't try to do anything.
Yeah. It was safe, and that's a big issue when you're with your kids too. I know my son, one day we went to another playground in a park, and there was these those big sewer tunnel things that they used to put in. I don't know if they put them in anymore.
Yeah, no, they had those when I was
the kids' playgrounds, and the kids were playing on those things. Are so hard, and David fell and he bonked his head, and then I'm just horrified now. I'm just like, oh God, I got to get this swelling down. I got to get this, he's bleeding a little. And I'm thinking, oh geez, I'm going to be in court now next week trying to explain how I abused my child because he fell and hit his head on the big. So you have to start thinking about safety. Yeah. And you're so restricted, you can't take them fishing because they're sharp items and hooks,
It reminds me of a personal story I got for you. When I was little, I was with my dad for his visitation. Sure. Anyway, sorry about that.
Okay, yeah.
My dad was putting the dog in my room.
Oh, cool.
So he's gonna hang out with us. Anyway, when I was little, we were playing baseball, right?
Yeah.
And I was batting, and I totally missed because I suck at baseball, and the ball hit me with my side, and it bruised my ribs or whatever on the side.
Yeah.
And when he dropped me off back at my mom's place, she flipped out, took pictures, went the whole 9 yards, was getting ready to go to court, and I was like, no, it's okay. We were just playing baseball. He didn't hit me or anything. She thought he hit me, and it was bad. It was bad.
Oh yeah, she was just going there in her head. My ex-wife used to do that to me all the time. You know what she did to me once? She bought the kids a BB gun. Good idea, huh? You know, you need a father. You know, don't shoot the BB gun in the air. Shoot it at targets or shoot it at trees. Don't shoot it over the highway. Don't shoot it at cars. You know, be safe
Don't
with
shoot
this
your
thing.
brother. Yeah, be
Don't
safe.
shoot your brother. She buys him a BB gun for Christmas. He takes the BB gun to his buddy's house, and I'm not in the house at this point. But one of the things they're going to tell you as a father is whatever happens, you're responsible for still. And she calls me and she says, "You got to take David to the hospital. Come here and take him right now." And I was like, "What happened?" And so I drove there quickly because I'm a caring father. I love my children.
Right.
And so I get there. Well, what he did is he shot him. He wanted to see if the BB gun would shoot through his shoe.
He wanted to see if the BB would go through his shoe.
Yeah. And yes, it did. Yes, a BB gun will go through your shoe and plant in your little foot. That's force. That's a math lesson that you can get in your mathematics class. That's Newton's law of force versus projectile. And I did explain that to him. And so I took him to the doctor. And I took him to the emergency ward, and right away the doctor comes in and with a police officer, and he says, "Well, we got to make a report on you." And I was like, "No. I just drove him here."
Yeah.
but right away it's the father, and I thought, "Oh, geez, I'm gonna end up in jail because my kid shot himself in the foot with a BB gun." And
man,
it was a horrible, those horrible situations you have to go through. And it's always back to the gynocentric. You as the male are responsible for anything. You have to be so much more responsible than anybody else in society.
Yep. You got to carry the team on your back.
You got to carry the team on your back. So that's gynocentrism in a nutshell for an ex-married man. I don't know how many of you guys got children out there. They're talking about cooking. I cook better when my mother, she was a chef on 40 years. Some of these threads that go on, and they're just, I just get the biggest kick. Did you bring it up so you can watch the?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
What are we doing? You want to talk about cooking? Do you cook?
I'm not that good, but like I said last night, I can make a pretty decent sandwich. So, if any woman can try to compete, she's welcome to. But I highly doubt she can make a better sandwich than me.
I know my sandwiches. I got my sandwich meat down. Yeah. So that was your father. So you have a good relationship with your father now?
That was actually my stepfather.
Your stepfather. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what you would call it. I stopped talking to my biological father when I was really young.
Yeah, he was
because I guess my mom kind of influenced us kids, and plus he lived a decent ways away and worked all the time, so.
Yeah, that work all the time thing, that's what you do as a father. Right. You work all the time and then you get that thrown back on you. You work all the time. Of course I'm working all the time. I'm only getting a third of my pay. Yeah. Yeah. So I like to cook. We talked about this before. I make bread fresh. I make all my sausage. I take out of the system by doing that. That's the way. Otherwise I would just go buy this stuff, and it's better.
Yeah. Homemade bread is the best.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. Bread is so easy. Guys, bread is just water,
flour,
it's water, flour, yeast. And yeast. And you got your bread for, the week,
right.
Depending on how you store it. It's really easy to make. And
do you make pasta?
Yes, I make pasta too. And that's just eggs, flour.
Right. That's probably the best, is having a pasta meal with homemade bread on the side. That's
God, yes. When I make it really easy. So I add a basil to my dough, so I get the green noodles, which is just kind of happy. I like those happy green noodles when I look at them, So
Warhorse is cooking out of a cast iron skillet tonight. Now he's making me hungry.
Yeah. So what you do to make pasta is just it depends, 1 egg or 2 eggs, and you bring your dough together. You roll it out into a large ball like a pizza, and you make it as thin as you possibly can. Then you flour the living bejeebers out of it, and you roll it up into a cylinder, and then from there you can cut from the end and then unroll them, and they're pasta noodles. It's so easy.
I like red sauce over white sauce with pasta. That's just my opinion. I haven't found like a good Alfredo sauce that I really like. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Not enough flavor or something. It just kind of seems bland to me, you know.
Oh yeah, there's a skill to making a good Alfredo sauce. I will give you guys my Alfredo sauce recipe in my one of my videos soon. But that's what I got cooking now. I make up spaghetti in large amounts. I'll make the big 8-gallon pot. Then I'll freeze it in individual bags. Since I am a single guy, now you can make up the best noodles in the whole world. I swear to God, guys, you got to try this if you haven't yet. You boil all your noodles up. You get like 2 pounds or 5 pounds of noodles, and then you can dump your spaghetti sauce over them, put them in a Ziploc bag, and freeze them. And those noodles will be perfect every time you just throw them in the microwave. And it's really for dinners. It's fast. It's good. It's you just or you can freeze your noodles and then just you run them under hot water, unfreeze them, and there they are, ready to go. So
that sounds good.
Yeah,
my parents did the crock pot thing. I don't know if you've seen that going around on Facebook. They got 40 meals worth and like just prepped it all. It took like a couple hours, just prepped 40 meals, threw it in the freezer, and then we had a meal, slow cooked throughout the day, ready to go when we all got home from work. And I have to say that like about 35 of those 40 meals were amazing. It's a home cooked meal. And it's already, you don't have to do anything when you get home.
Yeah, you throw it in the microwave, and it's the same, microwave meal, fast, easy. You throw it in there to eat, and it takes so much less time. I was into that crock pot. I was trying to take over the crock pot cooking group on Google Plus. I wanted them to make me the moderator. That would be. I just thought that would be so funny. Traversable Mgtow as the moderator of the crock pot cooking group, and then I would bring it back and go, guys, look what I did. This is just so funny.
Welcome back to another episode of Traversable Mgtow crock pot cooking.
Crock pot cooking, yeah. But it was kind of purposeful because I was trying to show how easy it is to infiltrate a group, and it boils down to group dynamics. And if you have a skill about infiltrating a group, you can get in a group, any group, just pick a group, whether it's the people that eat bananas, or crock pot cooking, and then they have their rival group, which is pressure cookers, and then they argue, the pressure cookers, and then the skillet cookers, people that like the cast iron cooking, and that's the other rival group, and they're always arguing between themselves.
I'll go with Team Skillet because I like to camp, and we cook some stuff up over the fire and cast iron, and that's how it's done. Applewood smoked bacon, eggs, potatoes, you name it.
Oh yeah, that stuff's good. And acrylic, those big cast iron things. But that's the other rival group, and you're not allowed to talk about that in the crockpot group. But it gives you once you step back from these things, you can get an overview of group dynamics and how group dynamics, and you can apply that to Mgtow too.
Any group, yeah,
you can apply your group dynamics once wait a second, there's crazy shit that goes around in every single group. There's just going to be some crazy shit, and there's going to be groupthink, and people are going to take it way too seriously. They're going to be fighting, arguing, and it's like the stupidest conversation. And then they're going
fighting about yogurt or some dumb stuff.
they're gonna bring in what I call absurdisms, and Marcus will probably if he's still in the chat, he could tell you all about absurdism, and absurdism is the funniest, and that's what people bring to these groups. And then you're looking back and go, that's just fucking absurd. I think that's.
Is the chat delayed a little bit? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. They can hear us like 30 seconds after we say it.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, but I think that's what the Christians bring to Mgtow. The Catholics. We had a few. We talked about this earlier. About the. Did you hear that? What is it? Mike Riddell or who? If the guy's in the. He
I
made
think I walked in at the tail end of that conversation.
Oh God, he made a. He was preaching why not to be a Mgtow to his catechism group. And he had he did a lot of research. Zeta did, hello Zeta, and Zeta did the thing. And this guy was teaching. They're already in it, and that's the problem with absurdism and bringing that to Mgtow, because you're bringing the Bible with you, and not everybody believes in the Bible, and not everybody. There's some good things to be, treat your neighbor good and all that stuff in the Ten Commandments. Don't kill, don't steal, don't cheat. That's great stuff.
Right.
But bringing these complex why you should get married and how
super
God
complex. Yeah.
yeah when you look at that, that's like God approving you to get screwed. You're allowed to fuck her now. I'm really kind of not thinking God. That was not what guard. Kicking guard. Yes, absurdism. It's that's one of the funny things. You can look into it and you can apply that to Mgtow, and you can apply the ideas. And sometimes you have to learn a negation. Sometimes you have to say it the way it is and think about it the way it is, and it gets a little confusing sometimes. But it's good to look at all those things, and that's how I apply the Christian, or not even a Christian. I don't even know if these people are Christian. They're like the tent Christian groups that are just crazy. The snake oil people selling you snake oil, and the first thing they're going to do is go, "You Mgtows are all pedophiles."
Yep. Shame and blame from every
Shame
group.
and blame, yeah. Now, if anybody can explain to me how the logic, the syllogism would go from Mgtow to pedophile, if anybody can explain that, how the syllogism would go on that, please do it for me, because I would like to see that in logical terms. But they go there.
Yep.
Speaking of spaghetti, I'm going to pause here for like 1 second. I have my spaghetti burning out there in the kitchen.
Uh-oh.
Just give me 1 second.
All right. I guess I'll have a minute by myself to talk to the group here. How's everybody doing? Japanese have a philosophy to their food: the power of five senses, 5 colors, the 5th taste, the 5 ways.
Yeah, I made the ultimate mistake there. I started a podcast while cooking.
At least you didn't like make a casserole and put it in the oven and forget about it.
Oh, yeah, I did that one day where I was on with Shining.
Yeah.
And I put, what did I put? I was making beans and rice and pork, which is a favorite around my neighborhood since I live in a Hispanic neighborhood. And I put it on, and I just forgot about it. And I was like, something smells really bad. And I was like, oh, shoot. You know, you do that. And that's that, oh shoot. Yeah. So
I have that moment every time I make cinnamon rolls. I'll pop them in Sunday morning, forget about it. Smell cinnamon down the hall. I'll be like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, that really smells good. They're baking, and then you're playing a video game, and then all of a sudden it's like, that don't smell too good anymore. Yeah. So we were talking about what you can do in we're going to go off. You know how we are. We're just going to go off sometimes and then start talking about other things. But the conversation was what you can do in Mgtow if you don't want to be a Mgtow producer of videos, and you can do other things around here. We talked a little bit to Seth yesterday about that.
That is correct.
And, he's got a whole Twitter thing going now, doesn't he?
Yep.
He
that
built,
whole thing he was explaining.
Yeah, he built up to 3,000. This is kind of amazing in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
in 3 weeks he got 3,000 Twitter followers, and we're gonna have him on someday so he's gonna show you guys. But now those Twitter followers you can link to through G Plus, and here's how this good. I imagine this working is okay. Mgtow Oracle here is putting together these videos, and you can link them to that, and then with he's expecting, how many did he say he was expecting? Up to 90,000 or something. That was his goal. So now you can link 90,000 people that not necessarily going to hear the word of Mgtow, the gospel word of Mgtow. And,
God.
Oh yeah, like we're proselyting people.
And that's how we get labeled as a cult.
That's how we get labeled as a cult. But I think it's funny. I do think when they throw the monks, and we are monks in a way. We live chaste lifestyles, some of us, and some of us don't live chaste lifestyles. I think it's personally fasting, being chaste, working out, walking every day, living a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy is a good thing.
Yeah, I thought of something after our chat last night. I was like, man, I want to talk to them in private about it, but we can talk about that later.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the whole monk thing.
Oh, the whole monk thing? Okay,
yep.
Yeah. That was a label that was thrown on us by Thank You, Sandman. And Sandman did that all himself, and he took it on himself to give the people that are chaste and live an aesthetic lifestyle is sort of a negative connotation of what Mgtow shouldn't be, but it's in reverse. It's something that you should enjoy doing, and you should get what's the word I'm looking for? There should be something cathartic about doing it. Something when after you go chaste for a while, you see, well, my life is, I got so much time, I got things to do, I'm doing things, I'm getting things done. I'm Steve Oka has a lot of great. Okay, somebody keeps talking about Hoka the Hoka.
Hokey.
Recently, he's Northwestern Man now. It's not Steve Hoka anymore. It's Northwestern Man. For anybody that doesn't know, I think it's Northwestern Man. You can look that up and see if I'm right on that. Yeah, there's that monk thing, and there's levels. Where would you place the monkness? The monk.
Yeah, that would be one of the upper echelons, like before ghosting, because I guess you could be a monk and still participate in society. Like just kind of a recluse, or I guess something kind of like the true forced loneliness. But I don't know much about that. But I guess if you just stayed to yourself, maybe still worked if you're not retired, or had methods of going out, participating in some levels of society, still paying taxes and stuff like that before ultimately ghosting. So I guess that could be like a level 4 out of 5 if we're using the 5 scale.
Yeah, so you're using 5 scales, which is 7 scales, and is on a table. Yeah. We have to give that. It is kind of a cool idea that you give the 7th level of Mgtow is unobtainable. Nobody could be that much of a Mgtow.
Right.
I like that saying when I repeat this once in a while on one of Nico's videos. He says, "Look, Nico's so Mgtow, he went Mgtow on Mgtow."
Yeah, he went his own way from going his own way.
Yeah, that's the 7th level. When you go Mgtow on Mgtow, you're a Mgtow.
Mgtowception.
That's at least 6. When you're Mgtow. What you think going Galt? Going Galt is the final. What would you consider going Galt? Is that like
what's going Galt? What's that?
Off grid or
so it's a ghosting. So yeah, that would be like level 5.
Level 5 is just trying to
I guess I read somewhere it was either a chart or in someone's video, and they explained how just going off the grid, but as well as not supporting taxes and supporting the gynocentrism, would be
Yeah,
the
the
ultimate
ultimate.
going your own way, but some things just aren't completely possible.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from society totally. And if you start doing the monk lifestyle, you notice right away and trying to incorporate going Galt and getting off the grid. There's not a lot of space out there anymore
Right.
where
Yeah,
you
trying to
can
find a
where
piece of land, like start your own settlement, basically, grow
yeah,
food for yourself. That way
grow
you can
food for
sustain.
yourself. And you always have to pay taxes. There's taxes
Yeah.
out there, and I
Yeah.
pay taxes here on my house, and it's one of the most irritating things I have to do a year because I see that as why America went all postal on England uh, years ago because
Yeah.
of
Because
tax
of a, what was it,
collection.
a 3% tax increase on tea?
Yeah, yeah. It's like when they tax me on something I own
Hmm.
my property, I own my
Yeah.
house, I own it. I'm not making payments on it. I own this house, and they're taxing. They're saying I have to pay rent so that I can live on their planet.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh no, no, I got big problems with that. So that's one of my big bitch. You're not going to go Galt totally, but there are some things and that you can do to protect yourself. Uh, and
Right. Right. There's
what?
definitely different kinds of steps of, you know, many different activities of working your way off the grid. Like you were talking about doing the whole food thing, like
Yeah,
making your own bread so you're not paying
make
the
your own
taxes,
bread. Yeah,
stuff
you're
like
not paying
that.
taxes.
I guess
You take
other little things that you can do that would be not food. I'm trying to think.
right, reducing your need for automobile gasoline.
Yeah.
That's a big expense, guys. If you took that expense a year, do you know how much money I save by not driving? Do you know how much taxes I take from the gynocentric by not driving?
Probably a lot.
It, a lot. It's you start from the beginning of you're paying the car, you're paying some secretary to send you a bill out every year, every month, and half of that cost of that car is so they can have these neat little secretaries that can bill you every month, and you take that away, then you're taking the actual half at least or three quarters of taxes out of paying for gasoline, oil, repairs, uh, and there's a lot that goes in there. Insurance, which is another forced tax on you, another road tax that they force on you. Uh, it's one of those laws that care, uh,
Yep.
and you start eliminating that, and you will find at the end of the year that you will actually have more money to take a cab or a bus or buy a bicycle or a little moped, and you'll have money left over.
Yeah.
And that's another way to go Galt. Now, I do this thing where I keep several addresses.
Yeah. Yeah. Explain that a little bit for the
Okay,
people who.
I keep 4 bank accounts and several addresses. And the most confusing thing, and I was a private detective at a certain time, and I tried to do that thing, and all that led to was me working for a company looking for people so I can force them to pay their bills. But the hardest people to find, you get to the end of the process and you have 4, 5, 6 addresses in front of you, and you're trying to
Yeah.
pick which address this guy actually lives at. And it's like at that point you go, shit, screw it. I threw that one in the not findable pile.
I'm not going to drive to each one and.
Yeah, otherwise you'd have to drive to each one. You would have to get a response, or you would have to obtain a response from that person at that point. And that person's doing that for a reason at that point. So I use several addresses, and I use several bank accounts, and I've kind of gone the opposite way on this. I made myself so full that they can't pin me down to one thing, and
Yeah.
that's a way to go Galt because they really can't pin you down. There's a lot of things you can do like that to just get Uncle Sam out of your life if you're in America. I don't know what do they have like an Uncle Sam in England?
Like
You know,
a Auntie Janine or something. I don't know.
yeah, Auntie Janine, or
I don't know what
we
they
have
would.
when we talk about our government, the icon that comes into our mind is like the Sandman guy, Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam's the guy, and I don't know why he'd use that because he's Canadian, so he's kind of pushing it. But that's we talk. We call him Uncle Sam because he's always pickpocketing you.
Right. Right.
Because Uncle Sam wants to ass rape you.
Yep. Yeah, every check you get, Uncle Sam bends you over a little bit.
He bends you over and takes 1/3 of that because that's the way that badass guy is. But
Canada just has a beaver.
Canada has
Tim,
a beaver.
Tim the beaver.
Yeah. Is it Tim? What's the beaver's called? Is it Tim?
I don't know.
It has a beaver, which is kind of appropriate. Beaver, vagina. Yeah, that is kind of appropriate. That's like.
Oh wow.
And, Mexico will pay for a wall. Donald, hey, we have Donald Trump in the room.
Snap.
Yeah, snap.
I didn't know we would be talking with a presidential nomination.
Yeah, well, it's good. Well, it's great to have Donald Trump in the room. Maybe Donald would like to share to us some of his policies, some of his hair care products, because male hair care products are always one of my interests.
I think he gets himself one of those blonde beavers from Canada and sticks it on his head. A little pelt up there.
A little beaver pelt. Yeah, I was looking at fads the other day, and I was looking at that beaver pelt fad that was going on in the 60s and 70s.
Like the Davy Crockett
Davy
hat.
Crockett, yeah, the
Davy
Crockett,
wasn't it?
Was it a raccoon or was it a beaver? Yeah, the raccoon hat. That was big back then. I was going over fads to see if we can make a resurgence in Mgtow on one of these fads.
Well, I guess we'll have to bring back the raccoon hat. Everyone will know we're Mgtow. Oh, he's going his own way. He's living off the land. You can tell by that raccoon he's wearing.
Hey, dudes, you walk into a library with a raccoon hat and people will go, that guy's going his own fucking way.
Oh man,
or a beaver hat, he's got his own way. Yeah,
he's got his own beaver to look over him right there.
Oh yeah, but there was an interesting girl I was looking at, and I can't remember her name. Back in the late 70s, there was a fad where everybody in New York started following this woman around, and she was very large-breasted, and she had like the full badonkadunk body on her.
Yeah,
and I could look that up real quick and see what her name is. But there was and I remember this fad. And
what happened was just a fad. They would just walk around.
Yeah. She was walking to work, and all the guys just started following her to work and giving her compliments and stuff. And it was quite bizarre. It was one of those. It lasted for like blah 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 blah, probably a half a year, and they put her in a Macy's Day Parade, and then her that image, that archetypal image of a woman, she had dissipated, so she got her 2 minutes of fame there. Okay, let me see. I'm in 60s. Her name was Francine Gottman. I don't know if any of you remember Francine Gottman. She was born in 1947. She suddenly became an international celebrity when a large group of men began to mob her on her way to work. And this was in 1968. Newspapers dubbed her the Wall Street Sweater Girl.
I've never heard of this.
You never heard of that?
No.
I was looking at that yesterday, and I was like, well, that is so bizarre. And if there was ever...
I guess that fad falls into the absurdisms.
Yeah, that's an absurdism. Yeah, if the feminists would ever... I'm getting a phone call. Let me take this real quick.
Go for it. The hero. Oh, I got a question. Can we play like the Pink Floyd's "The Wall" when Trump builds this wall? Or what's the other song? "The Walls Come Crumbling Down." Yeah, let's play that one.
Okay, I'm back. That was that was my buddy. He was like, "You want to go walk the dogs with me?" Yeah. So we were talking about the weird fads at that point. That was one of the great. If feminists ever wanted to take something that was really a horrible thing, that I would figure that Francine thing was Francine Gottman was the pinnacle of men oogling a woman, but they never caught on that one. They never brought that up, and I would think that would be the one. But
that would be their shining example of catcalling. That
yeah, the shining. But they put this girl in the Macy Days play. She was just a secretary. She had big, huge, she was the archetype breastfeeder.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a funny fads that we've had over the years. And there was a lot of them. The Pet Rock, the Age of Aquarius, bell bottoms. You ever think about bell bottoms? God, you didn't grow up during bell bottoms.
No.
I know a couple of these guys grew up during flower power and bell bottoms and lava lamps and that sort of stuff. But
I still have a lava lamp.
You got a lava lamp? Yeah, them are cool.
Yeah, it's sitting in my room right now.
You turn it on and it just kind of goes up. It's like you can sit there and kind of doze off and stare at it.
Yeah. That's kind of a replacement for like a fire or something that you can just stare at.
Yeah. Now, after the lava lamp came out, the what was that? The ball with the sparks.
Plasma. Yeah.
The plasma ball. That was I can't remember which. I should know that because I'm an electrician. Excuse me, my mind is kind of numb today, but I should know that one. But that was the next. They took it to the new level of coolness that you can have in your room and just stare at while you're smoking pot.
Was it one of those ones where you could touch it and like the stream would go to your finger?
Yeah, they had those. Yeah. They were kind of cool, but there was quite a few fads. I was looking through them yesterday. And that stuff. So we can probably get back to. So you've got 5 levels in there. You got the MRA separated, and we talked about how in Mgtow you can work. You don't have to make videos if you don't want to make videos. You can do a large amount of other things in Mgtow to help out.
I don't plan on making videos either. Well, I don't plan on it. Well, not on the Oracle channel anyway. I don't really think I have much to contribute as much as like a Stardust would, you know, or anything like that.
Yeah. Now, this is the interesting idea of us becoming a community, starting things. We talked about things like how we can get funding together for stuff after this. And once we start learning how to become a community, and hey, guys, feminism has a 50-year head start on us, and they're a community. And if you wonder why they get paid to do feminism, it starts with little projects. And we don't get paid to do meninism. We don't get paid to do men's rights act, and we should get paid to do men's rights activism, like feminists get paid to do feminism, but we don't. And there's reasons for that because it's
I would fully support like a veterans type of thing. Because I feel like somebody mentioned that Mgtow is starting to spread in the military, like the ideas. And as you know, there's a lot of cheating whores on, servicemen.
I think me and what was it, Terrence Pop both agree that any man that goes into the military married, there's an 82% chance you're going to come back to some guy sleeping with your wife in divorce papers.
Yep.
And
that's absurd.
That's absurd. The same guy that was fighting for your country, fighting so you have the
Right.
freedoms to do what you do in here in your society, these women are
Yeah.
fucking over at
She's gonna turn
82%.
around and backstab him, and then if they're married, she's gonna get divorced for cheating on him, and the whole 9 yards, take the money,
Yeah,
alimony, the
yeah.
house.
What's her penalty for doing that? What's her penalty for being
There's
an
no
immoral?
penalty. There's
Yeah,
incentive for doing that.
there's
She's
incentive
being
for
rewarded.
doing this. And I'll tell you what, as a military man, I know that they get the military relief, and that's a payment, that's a check. They get the child support, that's another check. They get deductions from the taxes. They get housing. That's enough. So she could be living with her fucking boyfriend in military housing,
Right. Yeah.
and these four, if she's got children, and your government's treating her like a goddess because she cheated on her husband while he was at war.
Right. She
Fuck.
had the strength and the bravery to hook up with a guy in the military
Yeah.
and then cheat on him and take care of his kids. Look how brave this woman is.
Look how brave and independent she is while living on that money that driving up your tax dollar, and that's a power empowered woman. That's the prototype, the archetype empowered woman in our society. And
Yep.
did you ever look at some of those pictures of the Wall of Shame?
Yeah. What was that movie? Jarhead? Was that the one where they had the Wall of Shame in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when I was in Fort Lee, Virginia, and a lot of the guys didn't believe there was a Wall of Shame. And I didn't believe it when I was still a young man. I joined when I was 17, and then 18 I was in Fort Lee, 19 I was in Fort Lee. So one of the guys took me down to the Wall of Shame, and there they were, all the Dear John letters up there.
Yep.
Just pinned up there. There was not 10, not 100, not 1,000, but they had estimated at 10,000 letters.
Wow. And that was just to that specific fort?
That was just specific to that specific fort. And there was a guy there. There was a colonel there. I can't remember if it was a colonel or a major. I think it was a major. And it was right outside of the museum that was on base. If you ever go to Fort Lee Museum, it's quite interesting. It's the Civil War Museum. So he was there, and he was explaining this stuff like in a very teacher-like way. I thought, wow, this is so bizarre, and it kind of woke me up a little bit at that point to the red pill.
Yeah, you're at least aware of what all was going on.
Yeah, I was aware not to, I'm not going to get it. I still took it down that road, but I knew while I was in the military not to screw around with the girls.
Howard Dare says it freaks him out to see a picture of a woman as a man is talking. My picture is the Oracle from the Matrix movie, if everyone doesn't get that. I picked it because I thought it was clever as a reference of we use the terminology of the red pill and the blue pill and the Matrix. So
no one was using the Oracle, so it's
yeah. I thought it was clever, but I guess people haven't seen that movie to really understand that.
Yeah. So what was the Oracle doing? She was baking cookies for Neo.
Yep.
Yeah, make a sandwich, woman. And she was the Matrix, wasn't she? She was part of the Matrix. She was a program in the Matrix. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. She was the program in the Matrix.
but somehow still, I wouldn't say a complete mentor, but some sort of awareness program for Neo,
Yeah. He was an awareness, but So veterans. Let's get back to you want to go back to the veterans?
The veterans,
So what did you? Is there any interesting research you got from that?
I have no research. One of the guys that's helping me with the Oracle channel, he was in the military.
Okay.
So he was all for helping veterans, having been a service member. So he was kind of talking about creating some kind of community or atmosphere, or maybe like a bar or something for, veterans, some
meeting
type of
place.
service, and maybe housing or something
Housing
for
is
them.
important. They're
Jobs,
doing a good
housing,
job
a
with
community,
jobs
and
and housing and everything. But that's same Health and Human Services getting the veterans off the street, because it was
yeah,
seven. It was they were represented by at least 60% of the homeless were veterans, and
yeah,
they're overrepresented in the homeless, and they're getting them up. And what they're doing is Health and Human Service. There's housing for them, and then you can get a job, you can start paying your child support, and
yeah,
get back in that program. And
yeah.
this why, and they don't get it. This is why your program is why I was homeless to begin with.
Right, right. So we'd
And
kind of like create our own program,
yeah,
to not like, kind of undermine the taxes and the gynocentrism. Like,
right.
everything would be completely legal, obviously, but have like I guess, an atmosphere where the men feel safe and at home or in the community, together, but
Right.
not a place where women would want to stick their heads in and stick their noses in,
Yeah, yeah, and that's what these programs are designed to do, is to get the man back in the program, because they
Right,
want to extract his utility from him, and that's all
right,
they want. That's all, because they could give a shit whether he's a veteran, whether he's a war hero, whether he's got a lot of medals, whether his friend died for the country, what he did, what if he got shot, if he was if he was has a Purple Heart. They could give a shit about that. All that patriotic bullshit that they rant out, oh, help our veterans, is just bullshit to get these
yeah,
men back in, because these
back
men see
into using them for their utility.
using them back for their utility, and these men, they see it very well. I think
Yeah,
MGTOW in the military is a very good idea to start explaining to men, because there
right,
is you're chaste in the military to begin with. There's not a lot of ways where women are going to come around you, or you begin to see the idea of being an independent male, and developing a personality, and developing some traits and some skills that are useful to only you. But on the other hand, you look around and you see all the guys that are just freaking failing, uh, and that wall of shame, and all the women are leaving them, and they're paying child support, and they can't afford to go out with the other guys, and all that stuff. So the military is a good. There's a lot of good places where MGTOW should be. The
yeah,
military.
yeah.
I think
And just
profession.
getting the word out is just what we need to do, really.
Yeah, professional sports. I always look at professional sports, and these young men coming out of college that the values are
Right.
at 16, $17 million. All of a sudden
Yeah.
they Johnny Manziel's a good example. Johnny of all of a sudden they're getting rape charges, they're getting domestic abuse charges, their careers going down. What was a possible 60, $70 million contract is the NFL is now
Yeah.
using the gynocentrism to cut their contracts down and get their utility for a lesser price.
Yeah. And
And
you have the classic story of, the woman who divorces the athlete and somehow
yeah,
demands his paycheck. Like,
right.
somehow she is entitled to that money, you know?
Yeah, guys, if you haven't looked at the stats on that is most professional athletes, 98% of professional athletes, marriages last 2 years. 2 years, and then she's entitled to half your shit, and she gets a large. She's done nothing except for provide vagina for 2 years, and then she's worth millions and millions of dollars. And it's a way for the gynocentric, and we have feminists that work in NFL and professional sports to push their feminism, because they see it. They see the resources there. Uh, the NFL in itself is how many $1 billion organization.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's
It's it's
ridiculously
it's,
big.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculously huge, and women see that as another paycheck. That's all they
Yep.
see.
Yeah, they don't even like the sport. Do you listen to Bill Burr at all, the comedian?
Yeah, yeah.
And he talks about that, like NFL parties and stuff. The women aren't there to watch the game. They're there because the men are having fun and they want in on the action,
They want in on the action. Yeah, they're getting something from the resources of the community. that's what they do. That's all they do. And professional sports, and we should be getting the guys not into professional sports because they should already know by that time not to engage in that kind of activity. What we should be looking at in Mgtow is getting into the colleges and getting into the college professional sports and say, hey guys, there's a bunch of gold digging bitches out there that just want a free payday.
Yeah,
And start listening. Get yourself a little Mgtow now because you're going to need it.
Yeah, college campus is a much needed place for red pill philosophy, and the amount of feminism on campuses across the country is ridiculously out of hand.
Yeah,
it's just rampant. It's it's feral. And
it's feral.
I saw a thing a guy did. I have a picture on my phone. He printed out like a little slip, like like some buildings where they would have like those take one sheets for like a car wash or whatever on like the billboards, like the announcement boards, you'd have like your services and stuff like that. Well, a guy had something like that, but he printed it out and he was putting it in men's bathrooms. And I thought that was kind of clever. It was for Mgtow. It said, okay, I can try to find a picture real quick, but it said something about taking back your life and check out Mgtow, just Google it or YouTube it, and I thought that was clever. But at the same time, if you YouTube it, all you're gonna get is one guy, and we know who that is.
Yeah, Sandman. If you type in Mgtow, you're gonna get 30, 40, 50, 60 Sandman videos before you see. Before, are you including Sandman videos in your?
I have a couple of his. I would call them better, but I have a couple on some of my playlists. Just I feel like some of his material is kind of helpful.
Yeah, he's helpful and everything, but it's that overage of Sandman. You get Sandman fatigue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find this picture. Is there like I can send you pictures in the chat.
You can screen share pictures from if you reach up to your right hand. Your left hand side, there's a screen share with a little green arrow on it.
Yeah.
And you can hit on screen share, and then that'll show whatever's on your screen.
Oh, okay.
Well, you'll have to go through a little process, but it's click on it and then click on OK, and then it'll go to your avatar, and then click on that and enlarge it.
Yeah, okay, I found it.
So what was that picture all about?
All right, I have it. Well, it's on my phone, so I might not be able to post it right away.
Yeah, you might not be able to post unless you go find it on its
yeah, but I have it pulled up on my phone. It says it's just a little strip of paper that he taped onto the mirror in the bathroom. It said, "Men, are you tired of being treated like crap by women? There are millions of men who have discovered support through an organization called Mgtow, Men Going Their Own Way. It's no joke. You can find videos and plenty of comments on YouTube. Just type in Mgtow and take back your life."
Yeah, good message.
It's just a little strip that I feel like we need something like that in campuses, just because of the abundance of feminism. And if you go to any campus, you'll see every beta simping mangina.
Oh yeah, and that's just a meat market for feminism, isn't it?
That is like ground zero.
False recapitulations. These guys are going to be successful young men. They're going to go out. You can tap on that utility early. They have classes for learning how to tap on a man's utility, or you can just go straight for the silver bullet, get a child, and then tap his resources for a lifetime. College campuses are just that.
Yeah.
There's a real need for just all male campuses out there. Tech schools.
Right. And there's really no way we can do that. I mean, obviously you have your tech schools, they're pushing for women in technology now, and whatever you want to call it, where they have their programs, their women in technology programs, where they go to high schools and they just grab women and be like, hey, you got a job if you go and get a degree here and get paid way more than everybody else just because you're a woman.
Yeah, you can manage the hell out of that shit, and you don't actually have to do the work. You just got to manage it, you know.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. But they used to have all male colleges, but the government made laws against that and to feed the gynocentrism because
Yep.
they know that these are just big meat markets and sausage factories for future pay for women.
And it's the same with sports. What is it, Title IX or something like that, where
Right? Yeah.
you have to have the same number of women's sports as is men's sports. The
Yeah. Yeah.
college I went to, we couldn't have a male soccer team because of there was an
Right.
equal number of teams and whatever. I don't know what all it was, but it worked out so men could only have an intramural team. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Are you kidding me? You can't even play soccer because the women
Right.
don't have a soccer team. You
No,
can't play
they had a
soccer.
soccer team, but they didn't have a football team.
They
That's
didn't
what
have
it
a
was.
football team, so
Yeah.
they cut men's soccer out. But a lot of
Yep.
men like to play soccer,
Yeah.
yeah, because there's an equal distribution of the funds. Uh, and who
Yep.
pays for that? Well, actually, the probably the bigger team, the only really successful team that actually draws a some kind of interest from the community, which is the football team, has to pay for all of that stuff. The
Yeah.
football, the baseball team, if you have a successful college football team or baseball team, like say we take Ohio State for instance, uh, you know, I can't imagine that they're filling stadiums full of girls soccer teams.
No,
They're not
they don't
selling
even
all
use a stadium.
the,
They
yeah,
just play in a field.
yeah, they play in the field and there's three other lesbians going, yeah, we love soccer,
Yep.
women's soccer. And that's not generating enough funds to actually
No.
have women's soccer. So where's that funding coming from? Well, it's coming from the pool, which is coming
Yeah.
from Ohio State football and Ohio State basketball and Ohio State baseball, men's baseball, men's football.
Yeah.
And so Title IX's figured out a way how to hijack all that too.
Yep.
And
And they get to claim to be a collegiate athlete when in reality there's plenty of men who could have played soccer but couldn't
right.
because they weren't allowed to have a program.
They weren't allowed to have a program, right? And there's a lot more that goes to that too. There's grants and there's
Yeah.
scholarships involved in those programs. So women are getting free scholarships for going out on a soccer field and having three lesbians cheer for them.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, our world, the world we live in. So we look at college campuses. We got to get in, just kind of spread the word around. Like that
Right.
little thing. Put that little thing up on sign. Here's the way. The more men that walk away from it, the less they're going to get from us.
Yeah.
The less the gynocentric can extract that utility from us, can make you into a slave. The more men that walk away, the less they get. They'll see it. They're not going to. They may never see it, but guess what? They're going to feel it.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And I'm thankful that I lucked out the way that I did, just somehow randomly stumbled upon
Yeah.
it and just got out while I could.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how all the male institutions are gynocentrically geared? Like we
Yep.
said, the army, football, college institutions, anywhere you go as a man, it's gynocentrically geared to extract those utilities out of you. And
Yep.
that's all it's about. That's all it is about. They can pose theories and ideological questions about why they do it, but on the bottom dollar, the bottom line comes down to them places are just meat markets for hypergamous little girls.
Yep. And I guess I'll have like a little bit of a tangent here. Stardust did his millennials video, and he kind of briefly covered college students and the job market and stuff like that. But I mean, he was right to an extent in some of his things, but he didn't really have
Yeah.
an inside opinion. And the thing is, they say like, oh, millennials are going for liberal arts degrees and liberal arts colleges. In reality, there's plenty of people my age going for engineering, STEM, like science.
Technology.
It's crazy the amount of students that are going into science and math.
Heck yeah.
It's crazy that they're not
That's what
getting
we do.
jobs because nobody wants to hire a Caucasian male to do math. And
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how many people that were in my program that were Caucasian males who were way more talented individuals than, the other students, and turned over job. They didn't have job opportunities.
Yeah, yeah. I like that picture of. I was looking at it, and one day I was looking at the picture of the guy that just did the skydive, the world's highest skydive. NASA was involved with that.
Yeah,
and then and then they
Halo
showed the
jumps
NASA. Yeah, he went like a mile or two in the balloon, and then he jumped out of it. And and you look at around NASA there, and you look at there was 82% Caucasian males at least.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, we're not bright guys, are we? But that's a good indication of men do STEM and women do phlegm.
Their underwater basket weaving and their
underwater vaginal basket weaving
dances.
Yeah. Oh, I just seen an awful picture. They were doing the thing again where they were doing menstrual art.
Oh,
this week. I just seen it. There's like, and some of the people are actually getting like, is this really art? Come on, do you need to normalize menstrual art and draw with blood on a? It's like, and you see it at college after college after college. Women,
and they have the vagina monologues and
the vagina monologues and the menstrual art and the vaginal weaving because they're trying to normalize the vagina. Crazy shit. Women are fucking crazy, aren't they?
Preaching to the choir, really.
We're preaching to the choir here in this room, at least. Yeah, women are fucking cray cray. That's what no holds barred.
Bitches be tripping. That's what one guy says in the chat.
Oh, but when you look at you look at the whole institution thing, we'll go back to the institution. I'll digress. Okay. And then you look at the whole institution thing in their meat markets for displaying the character and quality of a man. They bring him into the gynocentric so they can extract a utility. Now we look at that in the slaveries in the 1860s and America. And what did they do with the slaves? They brought them out in a market area and they displayed them.
Yep.
They displayed slaves, and this is a good slave, and that's what they're doing to men today. Just go and sign up for your slavery, men, because you're being displayed in a meat market by the gynocentric, by these institutions.
Go be on display, and the women can judge your abilities and utilities.
And you are the slave. That's what it's like in this society. When you go to college, when you go to the military, when you go into sports, when you go to school, you're displaying your otherwise these things would be very private. They would be very but no, they're not private. You have no privacy in these schools. You are just on display, so some little woman can go, oh, that's the one I want. That's the slave I want. The trick him in
window shopping.
The window shopping for a baby daddy. That's the one I want.
Oh, he's going into this program. I want that one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's not going to get a job anyway because they're offering it to some woman.
You should just put a sign on your chest saying 1/3 of $120,000 a year is, that's what you're going to get from this one. That's like that will be your alimony and child support. Is 1/3 of this one is, and then she can start adding that up. If I get 2 of those, then I get 2/3. 3 of those.
Hey, maybe the artists are onto something. They're not making money, so 1/3 of $10 is
Yeah.
I'm just messing. Artists are cool.
Yeah, 1/3 of $10. Yeah, starving. 1/3 of starving artists is starving. And negative. That's a negative starving. That is kind of funny when you think about it. If you do the mathematics on that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we covered a lot of subjects today.
Yes, we did.
I'm gonna keep this palatable. Like always, I like to keep it funny and somewhat funny. We joke and laugh about these things, but they are serious subjects.
Yeah.
And when I say you're a slave, man, you're a slave if you get into that thing. And nobody wants to be a slave. And you can't know what a slave is until you've experienced being a slave and how much it sucks. And then you will know your mistakes in life. Coming to Mgtow, developing a pattern of a lifestyle, patterns in your lifestyle that give you independence, freedom, give you qualities, let you see the qualities in yourself, so you can be happier and healthier in life. That's what we talk about around here.
Yeah, and don't let the other slaves try to coerce you
Yeah.
back to the plantation. It's
Don't
not
let the
worth
other
it.
slaves con you into it. And with that, I think I almost have to wrap this up because I have some business partner coming over here who wants to go to
Okay.
lunch pretty soon. And
Yeah, so everyone check out my channel. I have a couple
Yeah.
playlists up right now. More to come. It just basically depends on me and the other guys just putting videos into categories. So
yeah, you guys go check that out. You can see a lot. I've seen a few videos that I never seen before. Your first video I never seen before. And I was like, oh great.
yeah, there's a few one-hit wonders, just not Mgtow producers, but they'll cover some topics.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they cover
be
some
sure to check it out. I try to give everybody a fair chance of putting information together. Can't just flood it like with all Sandman videos,
Yeah, I can't have all Sandman. That's what I like to see. I like to see a good you can pick who you want to be around. You can pick who you talk to. You can pick the quality of male that you want to talk to in here, and you involve yourself in group activities, and these group activities will build and will become this. We will become society. We will become the system for men. We don't care what the women are doing, just for men, so we don't have homeless veterans starving on our streets right now and freezing to death on our streets right now, because they don't care about these guys.
And down the road, we're gonna have to solve some issues of post red pill. What can we do? So I guess we'll trailblaze at the moment.
Yeah, hey, what you can do? You can get busy.
See it when it comes up.
Get busy. Start sharing this stuff. Get yourself out there, and no matter what, get yourself out there and be seen and yell loud, and do it hard, man. With that, I think I'm going to wrap this broadcast up, and thanks a lot for this kind of an impromptu Saturday broadcast by Traversable. I didn't do my Thursday. I'm sorry. I was having some sleep difficulties and work difficulties and sleep, and it all goes together. I'm still to a certain point a slave, and I don't like it, but it's just the way I have to do it in life. And until I get full going Galt, which I will someday. That's the hope. That's the dream. These things are gonna, pressures from life are gonna influence what I can do around here. And thanks a lot for showing up, Mgtow Oracle.
Yeah,
great talk.
It's been fun as always. So
yeah,
thanks for having me on, having a little chat.
Yeah,
everybody have a good Saturday. Do your own stuff, Mgtow stuff. So cooking in your crock pots, your skillets, and your pressure cookers.
Pressure cooker, don't go over to the, if you're a pressure cooker guy, don't go over to the crock pot page. They don't like you on there.
No.
And have a great day, guys. Have a great day, and it was wonderful. Go visit Mgtow Oracle's page and check out what he's doing. And thanks a lot, man. You take care.